Welcome back to today's Explainer. It's July 1st, 2026, and wow, the globe is literally moving at lightning speed right now. We're going to jump right in and unpack the massive shifts happening around the world, using the data and facts we have right in front of us. We're looking closely at these events, distilling them down so you aren't just skimming the headlines. You'll actually understand what's driving them.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with Middle East truce tensions, then move to the Russo-Ukrainian front, check out some stateside politics and policy, dive into the World Cup knockout stages, and finally look at some extreme global weather. All right, diving right into Section 1, Middle East truce tensions and the 60-day Islamabad MOU. The stakes here? Absolutely massive. We're talking $24 billion. Under the current drafts, Iran's parliament speaker is expecting to retrieve half of their frozen financial assets, and their explicitly stated goal for this cash? They want to use these reclaimed funds to bypass global sanctions entirely. But here's where we hit a massive roadblock. There's a complete standoff over how exactly these funds are going to be used. On one side, U.S. diplomats are holding a really firm line, saying this capital must be strictly ring-fenced for humanitarian aid only, full stop. But on the exact opposite side of the table, you've got Major General Vahidi of the IRGC actively pushing to divert these newly unfrozen assets directly into military rearmament. So, two completely incompatible goals. And we're already seeing the immediate economic impact of this interim truce on the ground. With the U.S. naval blockade temporarily lifted, Iran hasn't wasted any time. They've already exported over 40 million barrels of crude oil. To put that into perspective, that is a rapid, substantial capital injection, especially since they're selling it at a roughly 20% premium. Moving right along to Section 2, the Russo-Ukrainian front, focusing on escalation and energy. You can clearly see a direct chain reaction playing out over the past week here. First off, Ukraine launched crippling drone strikes targeting oil refineries right in Moscow. The immediate fallout? This actually forced Russia to enact domestic fuel rationing. And in reaction to that, the Kremlin pushed frontline units into localized artillery offensives in the east. It's essentially a desperate scramble to grab territory before new Western long-range missile packages arrive and totally change the tactical geometry of the battlefield. So to counter this incoming wave of pressure, Kyiv is practically shouting to their NATO partners, making urgent appeals to fast-track air defense interceptor refills. They absolutely need this shield right now to protect their civilian grid from these persistent strikes, especially with the heavy energy demands that always hit in late summer. Let's pivot homeward for Section 3, stateside politics and policy, payments, taxes, and deadlines. Providing a crucial baseline safety net in today's wild economy, the Social Security Administration just officially sent out the July supplemental security income payments. These disbursements actually went out under higher caps this time around, hitting a maximum of $994 per qualifying individual. Now, out in California, there's a really fierce economic debate brewing over a November ballot initiative. You've got proponents pushing for a strict 5% wealth tax on resident billionaires with the goal of directly funding state healthcare. But critics are raising a huge red flag here. They're warning that a tax like this could spark a mass corporate flight, basically driving a ton of Silicon Valley tech capital straight out of the state and into places like Texas and Tennessee. Meanwhile, over in Washington, the confirmation friction on Capitol Hill is really heating up. Acting Attorney General nominee Todd Blanche is suddenly facing severe scrutiny. Judicial watchdogs just published reports showing he actually missed key federal court filing deadlines. As you can imagine, that's adding some intense political fuel to the fire ahead of his upcoming hearings. All right, shifting gears completely for Section 4, World Cup knockout stages, global fever and local strain. The round of 32 is here, and it's bringing some absolutely massive matchups across the North American continent. Just looking at Wednesday's slate, we had powerhouse England squaring off against Congo down in Atlanta, and Belgium battling Senegal out in Seattle. And of course, fanning the flames of soccer fandom everywhere, Team USA is gearing up for a huge primetime battle against Bosnia and Herzegovina in San Francisco. The international viewership for this one is expected to be off the charts. And the municipal scale of this event? The economic boost in these host cities is just staggering. I mean, look at Seattle. They completely shattered their public transit and tourism records. Their transit agencies moved a mind-blowing 1.1 million riders during group play. Plus, local fan zones documented over 625,000 unique visits. It's just a literal tidal wave of global fans flooding the city. But, with massive crowds comes the need for massive security. In a joint warning just released, the TSA and the FBI detailed the widespread interception and seizure of unauthorized drones flying near restricted airspaces right over these stadiums. Federal agencies are locking these venues down tight, tightening enforcement even more as we get closer to the U.S. 250th anniversary events. Finally, let's look at Section 5, Extreme Global Weather, focusing on infrastructure and emergencies.
A really volatile weather cell just tore through the American Southeast, bringing torrential rains and some absolutely intense lightning that completely disrupted major East Coast theme parks. In Florida, the infrastructure took direct hits literally in a flash. Over at Universal's Islands of Adventure, their Velocicoaster was incredibly crippled by a direct lightning strike. And just down the road, these severe electrical storms knocked over 24 core attractions completely offline at Walt Disney World. Mother Nature definitely had the upper hand there.
Across the Atlantic, the crisis is arguably even more severe as this brutal heat dome advances. Just 1 week ago, excess heat mortality surpassed 1,300 across France and Germany. It's a really grim situation. Currently, municipal departments across Central Europe are basically in a scramble, fighting to keep public cooling stations active. And the worst part? Moving forward, this unseasonable heat dome isn't dissipating at all. It's just slowly migrating toward their eastern borders.
So, connecting the dots between billions in frozen geopolitical assets, surging municipal transit lines, and lethal extreme weather, it really shows us a world that is rapidly adjusting its physical and economic boundaries all at once. With shifting borders, volatile economies, and extreme climates, what will tomorrow's headlines bring? I hope this explainer empowered you with the visual facts you need to understand the big picture today. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.